Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Your Morning Drive. I am Logan, coming to you from the interwebs on Riverside. Before we dive in, go ahead and hit follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode on whatever platform you're listening, whether it's Apple, Spotify, or watching on YouTube. A review, a comment, a like, all of those things. It helps us grow and leaves good feedback for me to take into account when we're considering making some changes to the show. So I appreciate any and all feedback I can get. For updates, behind the scenes fun, follow on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok even, and you'll get clips and behind the scenes stuff, sponsor information, everything in between. Thank you for tuning in today. Let's go ahead and get started. My guest today is the head of community at Riverside, a leading online recording and editing platform for podcasters, video producers, content creators, and other remote recordings. This podcast is being recorded on that very platform, so this is very, very cool for me. In her role, she supports thousands of creators in the Riverside community, helping them hone their skills, create new connections, and reach their goals. A people person to her passion is connecting with creators and hearing their stories. Before joining Riverside, she worked as a reporter and television producer for news outlets like NBC and Bloomberg. Please welcome my new friend, Kendall Breitman. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to get to be on the show.
I know, right? We were talking a little bit before I hit go, but this is really cool because, I switched to Riverside probably around a year ago at this point. I was using another platform similar. They're
hmm
probably y'all's biggest competitor. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. And it was
hmm
no disrespect to them, but what I really liked about Riverside, because at the time, before you guys have implemented so many of the new features that you have, they were pretty on par with each other. There was a couple things that the other one was missing that you guys had and vice versa, but for the most part, very comparable things. But you guys were $1 cheaper a month to use.
That'll do
And
it.
I noticed the community behind Riverside did not exist for this other platform. And got invited to that Facebook group by a woman who I know in the podcasting space, and she was like, "Hey, you should join this community." She also used to use this other service. And she said, and I just got hooked on the people that just interact with each other on a daily basis. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And that pushed me over the edge. So, and that's in part by you because you're the community lead at Riverside. So kudos to you.
I can't tell you how much that makes my day to hear. Wow. I'm really glad to hear that because community is such a hard thing to measure. Like it's when you put out an ad, you're like, okay, this many people clicked on this ad and got and purchased this plan or something like that. But communities is so much harder to measure because it's really about just having impact in people's day-to-day lives. And how do you measure somebody like, I didn't know this story. Like, a friend saying you should join this, and then that's what put you over the edge from going to somebody else. It's really cool to hear and really validating. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. I mean, tell me, actually, before that, I want to kind of get to know, where do you come from, Kendall? Where are you from? We talked about your parents a little bit before we started, but
Mhm.
I mean, where are you born? What was your upbringing like? I mean, tell me kind of your little quick origin story.
Yeah, so I'm from a suburb right outside of Philadelphia. It's called Havertown, Pennsylvania, Delaware County. And yeah, I mean, I was born and raised there, same house. Parents still live in that house. A tree recently fell on the roof of that house and they are reconstructing it and they're staying there. So no plans to go anywhere else. And so born and raised there. And then I ended up going the first chance I could, left and went to college. I went to American University. It's in DC. And I ended up studying politics and journalism there and then became a political journalist. But yeah, I mean, I have two brothers and all my family still lives in Pennsylvania. So that's a little bit of
Very cool.
the background. Yeah.
Very cool. So why throughout your upbringing, was it obvious that you were going to study something like journalism, like political journalism? or was that something that kind of evolved over time, or had that always pretty much been the get-go for you?
No, so I've always really loved storytelling. Like I've always really loved to hear people's stories. I mean, when I was little, I used to before I could actually write, I used to tell stories to my mom. It was very cute, and she would write out the stories on computer paper, just like one line on the bottom of each, and then I'd draw the little illustrations. So I'd make my own little books.
Oh, how
And
cool.
so, yeah, it was very cute. And so I really loved storytelling. And I also just really love to hear what's going on. Maybe that's called gossip in some circles, but maybe let's rebrand that to storytelling. And so I just really like to chase those stories. I really like to hear what other people were going through. Basically, I wanted to do feature writing. Like I wanted to be magazine writing about like a profile about somebody. So I started working in at the school newspaper and I was doing journalism there. And then I applied to a dean's internship for journalism and it was at USA Today Politics. And I later found out that they just like went alphabetical order and called all the people that applied. And I guess I'm lucky because my last name starts with a B. And they called me and we had a really great interview and then kept going on from there. And so that's how I kind of fell into politics. But I wasn't growing up like super into politics. I moved to DC and I think anyone who's gone to school in DC would know that like it's the way that the entire city works. So you really get into it. But then I started covering, when I was covering politics, I was like the stories in that, how people addressed, if like I was working in presidential politics for a while, how people address different crowds, what they're wearing when they go to different parts of the country, what they say, how they change, how they speak. It's all just really interesting, the story that they're trying to tell people. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying about the whole DC vibe. I lived in Virginia, about 30 minutes south of DC when I was in high school. We were up there for a job my dad was working on with the I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. I don't know. CIA? It's no secret.
We'll bleep it out if you can.
The CIA was expanding their headquarters, and my dad, the construction company that he worked for was hired to do so. But this has been 10 years ago or so, so I'm sure it's no big deal anymore. But either way, we were up there living there, and I loved the area. But you're right, politics is just kind of in the air. It's like, it's
Hmm.
weird. Like, I'm in the South now, I'm in Atlanta, and the thing that's in the air here is just, it's all sports, like football, baseball. That's all that's
Philadelphia is
like,
the same. Philadelphia
yeah,
is the same.
it's just
Yeah.
the whole aura of existing here. But in DC, it's like more so than other places I'd noticed, everyone has an opinion. They're not
Hmm.
afraid to state the opinion. And that's fine.
Hmm.
We have that right, but it just kind of is this overwhelming like aura that's just in the air. Nothing like down here, and I'm sure nothing like Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, yeah, very different. But it's hard to separate yourself from it. And I mean, even if like you're working as like a bartender and you're not really like related to politics, and the people that are coming to the bars are related, it's all there's really no escaping it. And so it's not that much of a surprise to me that I went to school in DC and ended up covering politics.
Yeah, yeah. So talking about Riverside though, so you started your career in this political journalism
Mhm.
space, but then you moved on. Was your first pivot straight to Riverside from this past life? Where did you go, and why did you decide to leave the this reporter political lifestyle?
Yeah. So, very long story, but basically, I was 2016. I was covering the presidential campaign, and I got to work for Bloomberg at the time. And I was also working for journalists that were part of a documentary series on Showtime. It was called The Circus. It's still called The Circus. I think it's still running. And it was like behind the scenes of the election. So I got to do some incredible stuff. Like I got to be on Bernie Sanders' campaign bus and go to do interviews with Donald Trump, like really behind the scenes, cool, interactive stuff that I wouldn't get to do otherwise. And then my plan was to cover 2020 election. And as I was going on, I was realizing that I wasn't going to get that same experience again. I felt like I would kind of be in the same flock as all of the other journalists, kind of like everyone you've seen, like everyone kind of crowding around like that one person in the middle, like the politician. And So I was kind of falling out of love with my job a little bit and then simultaneously falling in love with my now wife. And so she was from abroad. So then I was like, okay, let's try it out. Let's see how it goes. We were long distance for a while. And then I thought, let's try this. So originally, I was like, okay, I really like writing because I'm a journalist. So that's the obvious way to go. So I started marketing writing. But before that, I actually briefly worked at a company that did those like articles that are like 25 cats sleeping in funny positions, or you'll never guess what this guy found behind his wall during his renovation. And it was just because I needed a soft landing. I was like, I want to make friends. I need like a soft landing to a new space.
Your morning drive is also present to us by Good Days Canned Cocktails. Good Days are a classic cocktail brand created in a convenient, ready-to-drink canned format for any occasion, whether it's a pool day, a boat day, a beach day, a graduation, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, anything in between. Good Days are there for you. Good Days are ahead when they are in your cooler, your fridge, your anything in between. Good Days has your back. If you want to be one of the first to try their drink, you can do so by visiting drinkgooddays.com/pages/find-us to find a store near you selling their drink. Of course, you must be 21 years of age to consume and purchase.
And then after that, I moved to Wix. I was writing marketing copy there, and then quickly realized that what I loved about journalism, to take it back to what we were talking about before, wasn't the writing, because it was painful to be back and forth of like, do you want to say grow or expand here? And I'm like, I don't know, just press publish. So instead, I realized what I loved was stories. Like that's what I loved about journalism. So Riverside had reached out to me about community management, and I was like, what does that even mean? And once they told me about it, hosting webinars, getting to meet with users, getting to understand their struggles, what drives them, it was like, oh, this is perfect for me. And especially with podcasters, it's like, I think there's no better community because you all love to talk, just like me, but also because it's just people are friendly and really willing to share with each other. It's just like a really unique community.
Yeah, I agree. Not selfishly, but maybe I'm a little biased, but I agree with everything you said. It's a really supportive community. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's because it's almost similar to how I feel that, like, I don't know, like musicians celebrating each other's album releases. It's like when you're a kid, you think of stuff like that as like, oh, well, there's no way that Biggie would support Tupac. There's no way, because they're in the same space. They're both popular at the same time. There's no way they would support each other, but they do. And as a kid, you're like, that's weird because someone's got to make that money. And if I'm Biggie, I want to sell more albums than Tupac. But in the podcasting space, it seems that everybody is on each other's side.
Yeah.
And everyone is there to lend a hand or give a tidbit or a piece of advice that they
Mm-hmm.
maybe didn't get along their journey that they're willing to pass on to someone else. And that's really nice. It's nice to be able to have answers and supportive people in your circle.
It's also 100% different than journalism. I mean, like it's a thing that you don't expose how you get your sources, the methods that you use, because that's your currency. Like I'm a better journalist if I can keep those methods a secret, because then I can beat out other people that are reporting on the same thing as me. In podcasting, that's just not the same vibe. It's not the same culture.
Yeah, I was curious about, so when Riverside hit you up and they inquired about you coming on board, how soon thereafter joining Riverside, after leaving this journalism kind of background, how did that shape your perspective, or how did it shift your perspective on storytelling, or did it?
You mean that like did joining Riverside shape my perspective, or did journalism?
Yes.
Both.
All of the above. How when you got to Riverside, was there like a culture shock in the difference between podcasting and journalism?
Oh yeah.
Was there a huge shift for you with mindset? Like, tell me a little bit about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I would say that first of all, I came in with a lot of assumptions. I'm like, oh, people want to connect with each other because they want to network, because that's what I was used to in journalism. So my first thing when I started, I was actually suggested this by my manager, so shout out to him. But he was like, you should get on calls with as many people as you can. And so my first 2 months here, I just went call after call and spoke with different people. And I was first of all like really blown away by how nice everybody was and how giving they were and how much they wanted to share. And you'd say like, "Oh, that's a really cool light you have in your background," and then you'd hang up from the call, and they would like send you the Amazon link with like some affiliate code that they have for the light. Like it was just so different than what I was used to. And so, yeah, I also think that it's nice to work because, as you said in the intro, like I'm very much a people person. It's nice to work with people that are just very. A lot of people are doing this for their business, but this is like the passionate part of their business. One of them, and a lot of people are doing this because like they're passionate about podcasting and they love to do that, and they come back from their full time job and do it as something that drives them and makes them happy. So, it's just really inspiring. Like I think that I have like a really cool position within Riverside because everyone has to work on the new features, but I'm the only one that actually like hears from people saying, wow, this makes my life easier, or I just am really having so much fun with this. And so I get to kind of reap the benefits of seeing like the end result of people being happy.
Yeah, I mean that's a really I can think about how that would be a really rewarding, if I can speak, position to be in, because I mean like one of our earlier interactions was me sending you a message and saying, "Hey, like the other platform had this feature. Do you guys plan on doing it?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'll add it to the list." And I forgot about it. And then like 2 weeks later, you messaged me and said, "Hey, this is here now." And I was just like, "Whoa." Like I have never used a product, given feedback, and seen a turnaround that quick. Now, I assume other people had requested that same
No, it
feature.
was just you.
Yeah, I'll own that.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Riverside community. But I was just impressed with a company's willingness and action behind hearing customer feedback. Like it just blew my mind, honestly. So that shows how Riverside truly values you as this liaison between the users and the company, and they really take to heart what you observe about the community's thoughts, reviews, gripes, favorite things. Like it's really cool to see a company actually value what their users are doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's very much the core of the place here. So that was also like you were asking about kind of culture shocks and changes. Like there is that part about the difference in culture between journalists and podcasters. But then there's the other part where I was working before. I was saying like Bloomberg, gigantic company, NBC, owned by Comcast, like Comcast Universal, like huge companies. And so then to be at Riverside and have them be like, I'd love to. Do you know any users who are going live? I really would love to hop on a call with them and hear what they like and what they don't like and what they wish that they had. Like that was just so cool to me. So yeah, that's just been like feedback and actually speaking to people is very much like the core of what people want to do here. So yeah, it's not like I have to sit there and be like, please, the community wants it. They're very much actively asking what they can be doing. So it's very nice.
Very nice. And so, with all that said, being the head of community, you're connecting and having conversations like these, probably with other creators every day, I assume. What does building and maintaining a strong community look like for Riverside? Because I'm sure when you got here, and I'm just assuming here, did Riverside have a community lead before you? Had they really invested that money and time into a role like that?
No, we had like they had the product marketers really lead the community. They'd set up the community, like there's a community on Facebook. But when I stepped into the role, that was the first time that we had done community in that way. So what it takes to really set that up, I mean, I think that it takes a lot of trust building and it takes a lot of like being authentic. So, for example, you writing to me saying, "Hey, I wish there was this feature." Like, it's inauthentic to write back like, "Yep, noted." Like, I make a point to actually note that, and then when the it comes, I will come back to you and let you know that that's there. Because that also encourages somebody like you to be like, "Okay, I'm going to share more feedback," which is helpful for us. It's also maybe I'll help other people in the community. So when you display what you want to be displayed in a community group, then you get that back, like being helpful, being friendly, starting conversations. I used to post every single day. Oh, hold on. All right. I used to post every single day in the group, for example. And after a while, once you show people that these posts are getting responses and you could actually have these conversations, then you find that other people start to do it because they see the value in it. So in the beginning, it's like it's to make a community. It's a lot of work in the beginning, and it's a lot of proving that you actually are authentic in what you're saying. If I'm going to say, I'm going to do something every month, you do it every month. If you say, I'm going to get back to you, you do that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It makes a lot of very small touch points. So sometimes it's hard to be like, you like leave and you're like, what did I even do today? And you're like, I answered a million people's questions and sent articles and answered emails. But like, yeah, it's a lot of little touch points, but it makes a bigger output, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, it's wise for a company to
Sorry.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine. It's 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 fun knowing that, and here, me too, with the ringing. Come on, man.
It's like our room used to be like, there's no way to lock it because the people who left this office didn't give us the key. So there's a little
Oh, nice.
sliding sign that says occupied. And I was like, this guy's just never going to work. Like, if you like try that in a bathroom and let's see if that works. But anyway,
Right.
if you could tell, it doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, sorry.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out with this these new iPhone and Mac softwares and stuff that have released this week. It's like telling me that we're screening your call, and it's like, "Oh, I love that. Thank you for screening my call for this random number," but it's like, "Do you want to hear it?" And then like if you don't answer with a certain amount of time, it like rings your iPad, your Mac, your see, there it is again, the cell phone. Like this is
Suddenly
just
your mother's at your door, like knocking down, being like, Logan,
right.
you have a
Like
call?
here I am doing a podcast with Riverside, who is this Georgia Power. Wow. Not my
Georgia.
electricity company trying to call me.
God.
Probably just like,
That's
"Hey, we're shutting
nice.
your bill off."
They're building community, you know?
Hey,
Look at that.
true. Let's think
The
about it from
touch
that
points.
perspective.
All those small touch points make for a community.
Yeah, well, listen, these touch points need to go away. So back to Riverside. It just makes sense for a role like yours to exist, because ultimately at the end of the day, if you take all emotion out of it, Riverside is a company that has a software for podcasters. And if podcasters are giving feedback on how to make the platform better, and Riverside's just like, "Yeah, noted, and we'll get to it one day," they might lose business and they might lose accounts. And that's not good for business. So it only makes sense for
I
the
mean,
community to be listened to.
and so that's one area is feature requests. But then if you also think about it, how many people start a podcast, get overwhelmed, and then drop it? And that's something that as a podcasting platform, a recording platform, recording, editing, publishing, end to end. But when you have people that are starting getting overwhelmed by just the sheer amount of work that goes into podcasting, so why not build webinar programs and education that can make them feel more confident, teach them how to grow their subscribers, to get more subscribers, teach them how to write their scripts better. Like when you have that knowledge, people will also continue to do what they love to do and not feel as overwhelmed by it. So it's also in that way, beyond feature requests, it's just about educating and continuing them on that path.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So with that said, what are some with when you are interacting with creators and other podcasters on a daily basis, what are some of the most common challenges that podcasters and creators are facing? And then part two to that is, how is Riverside helping them overcome those obstacles? Hey guys, let's talk about another partner of the podcast, Branded and Devoted Designs. Are you looking to level up your company's merch game? Your brand deserves better than boring swag. If you contact Branded and Devoted Designs, you can level up with custom hats, shirts, tumblers, mugs, and more that your customers and clients will brag about. Go to www.brandedanddevoteddesigns.com to make your brand stick out. Mention that Logan from Your Morning Drive sent you, and they will give you 10% off of your order. That's brandedanddevoteddesigns.com. Tell them Logan sent you from Your Morning Drive for 10% off your order.
So I'd say there are two things. Number one is that a lot of people are like, I love to talk. I love to have conversations. They can get in a studio and record, and they love that. But then, as a podcaster, there's so much that goes into it afterwards. So a lot of people go into it blind. They're like, yeah, let's just have some fun conversations. My friend and I love to talk, and people love to listen. Let's do something. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I have to do the show notes. I have to publish it. I have to make clips. I have to, like, all of these small steps that go into it just really add up, and people get overwhelmed. So that's number one. But number two is even the people that are aware of what they're doing and like what they're getting into when they start, it's that like podcasters are expected to be their own marketing teams now, their own content teams. So by now, I mean always, but so they are making this episode. But then if you really want to grow, you need to have clips, right? And if you really want to grow, you also need to have a blog post and a newsletter and blah, blah, blah. Now it's clips. Now it's under 30 seconds. Now the medium length is a bigger thing. So you better have those 10-minute clips as well. It's like, it adds up and adds up. So you're like, who has time for this? So few podcasters are actually monetizing. A lot of people look at like the Joe Rogans and the Alex Coopers and they're like, they're millionaires, but most people are not monetizing in the way that they'd like. So it also is like they're unable to make it their full-time job, but the amount of work that goes into it is a full-time job. And I can see that you're nodding in agreement because it's all very relatable and true that that's a struggle. What Riverside tries to do for both of those people. So for the person that got a little bit in and over their head and was like, wow, there's a lot to do here. And the person who's like, I'm not a full marketing team. It's being faster and easier, but still being like at the core, Riverside is like getting high quality files and high quality audio, video. But it's also what can we do to make editing easier for you? What can we do to make writing show notes easier for you? All of those steps, like that's kind of what drives us is just easier, faster, but still keeping high quality.
Sure. Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, it's all of the things you've said are so true. It's unfortunate unfortunate depending on how you look at it, but podcasting is a full-time job. You are expected to be your own PR person and your own social media person and your own guest booking person and your show note generate. I mean, everything can be overwhelming, but Riverside has seemingly been leading the charge to make all of these things. I want to say a lot of people also, before I finish that thought, don't know, like you said, that there's this much work in front of it, but Riverside makes it obvious that that stuff is stuff that you should be doing, like the clip generation, the show notes generation. Like it kind of lays the groundwork in a way to like, hey, this is what you need for success. Here's some thumbnails. Here's some clips. Here's some branding
Keywords.
tools.
Yeah.
Here's all of these things that go into making your show look as professional as possible. And it's great because Riverside's features make those things that could seemingly be overwhelming very accessible to the average Joe Blow. That, it's few and far between that people are super duper tech savvy when it comes to podcasting. Like you say, a lot of people are just like, me and my buddy like to go to happy hour and we talk over a drink for 4 hours. Why don't we just start recording it? But the technical aspect that goes into podcasting can be overwhelming. And I guess what this ramble is start trying to get at is that Riverside makes it easy for people to,
Yeah.
or more accessible rather than easy, more accessible than anybody else.
Well, that's what I was also going to say is that, like, why shouldn't these two people who like to talk for 4 hours at the bar have a podcast? Like, if those people want to make something and people want to listen to it, then, like, even if people don't want to listen to it, do it. But I also like to say that I think that what I personally really like about it is that it used to be if you want to have a podcast, you'd have to have a multi-million-dollar studio and all of this money to be able to put into it. And so when you kind of take down that barrier and make it more accessible, it means you get more stories from more people in more places. And that is kind of, I mean, I think that's really the way to connect with other people is to hear their stories, to always to keep taking it back to storytelling. But really, like, I think that when you don't limit the stories and the people that are telling them, the guests that are talking with you, makes it so that people can relate to each other in that way. Cause that's kind of a lot of what podcasting is about.
Sure, sure. And so speaking of those stories, we've talked a lot about how a lot of your passion behind being at Riverside is hearing those stories
Mhm.
from other creators. Is there any particular story or
Mm.
experience that you've had that has stuck out to you that's just been like, man, this is why I do what I do because of stories and people like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I don't like, I'm not going to say like a specific person because there have been so many, but I would say there's like a lot of podcasters that talk about grief. And those ones are really, really like emotional to me because they go through something. Like I spoke with one creator who lost like so many people in 1 year and like their mother and then their father and then like a brother. And it was a wild story. And then they started a podcast just because they felt like they had no one to talk to and they had so much that they wanted to talk about and so much that they were trying to like get through and understand. So she started a podcast, and so many other people have also done this, that they start a podcast to talk with other people who have been through grief, are grieving currently, just to like create a community for each other. And it create like the fact that they're not only able to help themselves during that process and heal in whatever way they can, but also that they're able to help all these other people heal and they created communities out of it. And all of these people now can come together around something that they need a community for. Like those are the stories that really get me that I think are just like what it's all about.
Yeah, grief is one of those things that, I'm no therapist, but it's best to get that stuff out and
Mhm.
in the open and to have these hard, uncomfortable conversations about loss and grief and addictions and everything that revolves around that universe. It's good to get them out in the open because the more people talk about them, the more uh, relevant they are in society and that means the ever so much closer we are to getting to solutions for addictions and sickness and all of these things that can really bring a person down. And it's funny, as you're describing this person, I'm gonna have to ask you off mic or off after we're done recording, but I might know who this person is. I mean,
Oh, yeah, ask
very
me.
small world, but I think I know, unless this probably happens to millions of people, but I know somebody that I've had on the podcast that has this exact story.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
gonna have to ask you
Maybe.
afterwards to make sure that
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
coincidentally could be the same person.
Okay. Well, then if it is, then you could link to that show in the show notes.
Hey, there you go. There you
There you
go.
go.
So with all of this said, with all of it you're doing with Riverside and with creators and with all that Riverside is doing by implementing features. I mean, I know I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves and I'm sure you're limited on what you can and cannot say, but are there features and stuff that you're really excited about that Riverside is bringing to us towards the end of 2025 and going into 2026? Is there opportunities that creators should be paying attention to? Kind of give me your little what you can on that.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot. That's actually I don't know how much I can say, but basically what I will tease is that we are working on one, like a brand new way of editing, which I think is going to be really cool. I'm excited for people to try it out, and it'll only kind of get better as things go on. And then two, we're really focused on being end to end. So Riverside started as a recording platform. And then we branched out to more editing. And so now we have a full editor and also content creation with those show notes, transcripts, all of that. But now, I mean, the next step is publishing and putting them up on platforms. And I mean, we already started by putting out hosting to publish on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you like for new podcasts. So I will just say I'm excited to see what the future holds for that. Definitely.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
just those little tidbits gets me excited personally because I'm thinking the transcript editing functionality is something that I had never thought of before I had heard of, Riverside and its, some of its competitors. I'd never even thought about how much easier editing could be with that functionality. So to hear that you guys are working on another new way to edit, it's just that I'm excited because
Yeah.
like how could it get any better than it already is? So I'm excited to see you guys one up yourself yet again, I'm sure.
Thank you. We try. We try. I mean, I just get to deliver the news, but I do think it's the best part of the job. It's like they
Oh,
have
for
to
sure.
stay up all night working on it, and I get to be like feature announcement and like celebrate with everybody. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really neat. So now, my friend, there comes a point in every conversation I have with my guests where I ask them a collection of questions. They can be rapid fire, or they can be short, or I'm sorry, or they could be we can discuss them in full if needed.
Let's do
But they're
it.
really just kind of to get to know who you are.
Okay.
We got
Cool.
to know your kind of your early stages of your career, where you went to school, a little bit of upbringing stuff, and what you're doing at Riverside. But I also want to get to know you, just so if and when we publish this in the Riverside community chats, which I would love to do, and people are listening to this conversation, I want them to know who you are as a person too, so that that can be another bridge for connection.
Yeah.
Are you ready for these questions?
Yeah. Enough about Riverside. Let's talk about me. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I'm ready for the
Heck yeah.
questions.
Do you know who you are? Yeah. What is your favorite movie?
Oh, God. Oh my gosh. I'm so bad at these questions of like favorite movies, favorite
Oh yeah,
songs.
these are all first date questions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, mine's gonna be a little bit embarrassing, but like
Oh,
I used to love and I still love now and then. It's like an old coming to age movie. I think it was like coming to age in like the 50s or the 60s. And it's like four girls, then they grow up. Rosie O'Donnell's in it, Demi Moore's in it. It's so good. I actually recently revisited it because I used to love it when I was younger, and I was like, this still slaps. So I'd say now and then, and just because I love girlhood, I love like those coming of age stories. So
yeah, that's fun. I love that. I've not seen this flick, but now I'm intrigued and I now want to. So
it's just like
stand
about like
by.
like four friends who like have like a summer together when they're younger, and then like it tracks also to when they're older, and it's just like very sweet. It reminds me of when like summer used to like when you'd want to see a friend and you'd actually like go to their home and knock on their door and ask their mom if your friend can play, like the good old days. So yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very good. What was your first job ever? The first time you were hired in high school or
Hmm.
college or whatever? What was your first job?
Okay, my first job was I worked at Cold Stone Creamery. Do you know Cold Stone?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I worked at Cold Stone, which of course meant that if they tipped me, I had to sing. I do remember some of the songs. Like they have one like that was to the tune of Britney Spears' "Toxic" that I still remember, and it sometimes comes to me at random times. They had one that was like to the tune of the Adams Family song. But anyway, yeah, I was mixing those mix-ins right into that ice cream. Yeah.
Hey guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about the company that makes your morning drive happen every week. Are you looking to elevate your business and your brand? Hammerhead Creations is here to help. They offer top tier marketing services, including social media management, website design, and Google page optimization, ensuring your business reaches the right audience. Whether it's a side hustle or your full time grind, their expert team, me, is ready to help you grow. Plus, if you're into podcasting like me, Hammerhead Creations offers full support for both in-house shows and external podcast creation. From concept to production, we will help you bring your ideas to life. Visit www.hammerheadcreations.com and discover how we can take your business or your podcast or both to the next level. Hammerhead Creations, swim with the big sharks. God, I love Cold Stone.
It was so good.
That was like a staple when I was a kid. Like, if
Cake
mom was
batter.
like, "You guys want to go to Cold Stone?" There's no way we're saying no.
Yeah, like I don't care, Mom, I don't care if you make me go to the grocery store for an hour beforehand because I hate it doing that. Like if I go to Cold Stone, I get to have that cake batter ice cream with like whatever mix-ins I want. Like, yeah.
Stop.
So that was my
Get
job.
outta
And
here.
so I got to have it as much as I wanted. And then people at school knew about it. So they'd come by, try to get some free ice cream. It was like my power play of whether or not I actually liked them, you know?
Yeah, that'll make or break your popularity in school for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for the right people, free. For the wrong people, you're like, that will be full price. But
yeah,
you know,
in fact, that's going to be full price plus an additional $10.
Yeah, and then you'll have to tip me
because
I have to sing that Addams Family song. So please give me that money.
Yep, exactly. If you were entering the ring for a fight, Kendall, what would your walkout song be?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good one. I feel like this weirdly the first thing that comes to mind is like Soulja Boy, you know, that's like you that could be fun. I don't know why that's my first one that comes to mind. Okay, I'm gonna keep thinking about it, but I will say that the first thing that came to mind is that. But then another one should be like, what is she doing here? Like that kind of vibe for a song.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Soulja Boy's a vibe. I mean, we can throw on some Crank That while you're walking in.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna see if I edit that by the end of this with this rapid fire. But right now,
it'd be really funny if, as you're like climbing over the ring, like you like Superman it out, like in the dance,
like you can time it really well. It fits perfectly. And then they're like, "Here's Kendall," and it's like you know, like immediate. Like I'm producing it. I used to be a producer with as well as as a journalist. So, I mean, I'm just producing this whole moment now. Yeah,
this is huge.
Really makes you think.
It does. It really does. Additionally, on the music train, you get to organize yourself a music festival. Who are your 3 headliners? They could be alive or dead.
Oh no. See, that people are like really gonna I have to like people are probably gonna judge me for this, but you know, so be it. Judge me. Number 1's Rihanna. And I won't say
fire.
Right? Number 1's Rihanna. I feel like number 2 needs to be like first of all, they're all gonna be women. Number 2 needs to be like a throwback type of vibe, you know? Like after Rihanna, maybe I want to like yell a little bit with like some Alanis Morissette, you know, and just like, yeah, get real wild. And then I don't know, maybe I don't. This is hard. Ooh, third. Like I feel like Stevie Nicks.
Ooh, great choice.
Right? I feel like it's
a
fire
lineup.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm buying tickets. Damn.
Yeah, I don't even know who would headline it, but yeah, as long as Rihanna's there, also, I'm there.
Yeah, Rihanna gets a pass. She just gets to show up.
Yeah, and Beyonce will be a special guest, obviously.
There you go.
Like a surprise guest because I'm just throwing her in there. 4. I make the rules.
This is my show now.
I am the captain now.
What, on a day that you're not working and serving the Riverside community, what do you do to recharge? How do you take care of yourself?
So actually, I live near a beach. So I would used to say that I would go to the beach. But I will say now that I am a new recent mother. So I'd be with my daughter. She's 10 months now. It's just like you come home and I'm just like absolutely obsessed with her. And it makes me smile. And like the being a parent, not, I need to clarify because it sounded like I was referring to my child, but like it as in like the act of parenthood. But yeah, I just like, I love coming home to her and then like playing with her and going to the park. It just like, it resets my day always.
Wow, that's powerful. I love that. I had no idea. I mean, rightfully so. I don't know you personally like at all, but congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, so she's actually 11 months now. Wow. But yeah, so it's been really, really great. Her name's Nellie.
Cool. Nellie. Wow. Shout out to Nellie.
Shout out to Nellie.
What is a quote or a piece of advice you've been given that sticks out to you that you try to embody and live by every day?
Okay, I'll give you two. The first one is it's more of a tip that I give to creators. When I worked at NBC or Bloomberg, when I worked at Bloomberg, I had a really incredible executive producer, and I would ask him, how long should this video be? And he'd always say, as long as it wants to be. And I really use that all, like we use that now for videos, for things that I write. There's a time where things that you create, you feel like they're dragging. You know, it's like usually the time when like you're watching the YouTube video and you tap on your screen and be like, how much longer is there here? Like making things as long as they want to be. I also apply that to just like life. You know, if you're at a party and like, this is as long as it wanted to be, then I will. That's one. And then another quote that I like really love. I'm not, I will admit, I'm not a big Bill O'Reilly fan because yeah. But there's a very funny video of him rehearsing this line in have you seen this? The
Iconic.
teleprompter keeps messing up, and he just is like, I don't know if I can curse, so I'm just gonna say F
You
it.
can curse.
He's like, fuck it, we'll do it live. And he starts like yelling. You know this video. And
It's iconic. I love that video.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. I use that term all the time, just being like, we'll do it live. Well, I say fuck it.
I love that because I
it's
also use that
iconic.
term a lot. If anything's ever messing up, I'm just like, we'll do it live.
We'll
And
do it live.
there's
And you
at
throw
least-
the pen down.
There's
Yes.
at least usually one person in the room that gets it.
If they don't, it's even more key. It's even if they don't, you
sure.
just like really seem like you're having a moment.
You have to get like really angry, but then like try to calmly stack papers
Yeah,
and then like lose your cool again and just be
Exactly.
like,
you have to like really like feel yourself unravel while you do it, but it's just
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
iconic. Yeah, so that's one of my inspirational quotes.
yeah, it's that's gold. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
Yeah.
A couple more here, Kendall. What is your biggest fear?
Ooh,
Got a little dark on you. Sorry.
yeah. What am I scared of? Biggest fear. I feel like I really don't like heights, and yeah, I guess heights. I feel like also getting like really sick. You know, I'm like one of those people that like doesn't like to go to the doctor because I'm like, what if something's wrong? Ignorance is bliss, you know?
Yeah.
But my wife's a doctor, so she doesn't love that outlook. But yeah, so I would say heights. And then to get even deeper, I would say illness. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's perfectly. Illness is a very valid
No,
fear.
just like getting like very like, I don't know. I guess the real answer is like death, but yeah, and heights, but it makes sense because if I fall, then I fall to my death. So that's what I'm scared of.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Mhm.
And then lastly, Kendall, what is your main motivator? What pushes you? What keeps you going every day? What is your morning drive?
My morning drive, this is going to sound cliche, but my morning drive is really the fact that I get to work in this job and get to speak with people. I think that what drives me is being around people, living life. I think that I really love the spontaneity of life and being able to connect with people. So I think that being with friends, going out, meeting people from the community, like all of those things just like really drive me. Human connection. That's the word for it.
There you go. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Now, Kendall, I'll go ahead and give you the opportunity to tell the people how to get involved, what Riverside does, tell them how to get, how to sign up, how to learn more, everything. Just advertise.
Yeah, so you can check out more about Riverside at riverside.com. Actually, it's an update. You might not have noticed, but it's not .fm anymore. We changed it over. So if you go to the website, it's riverside.com now. And so you can also find the community that we were talking about on Facebook. It's Conversation Creators by Riverside. And so you'll see a lot of me there. You'll also see a lot of Logan there. Come on, just come and join us. And then if you want to connect with me, you can find me, let's just say on LinkedIn. So Kendall Breitman, my name's somewhere on this screen or in those show notes. So you'll know how to spell it. Yeah, just you can check out, there's also like Riverside on YouTube. So you could really check out everything that Riverside can do. And yeah, I've given you enough destinations.
Yeah,
So
tons of
check it out.
destinations, and I'll make sure I throw Riverside's website in the show notes so that we can, if people are interested in what we've talked about and want to join a community or get involved, they can go to riverside.com and check it out. We love to see
Yes.
that. Kendall, thank you so much for giving me about an hour of your time today. I appreciate you being invested in the community enough to be open to doing this with me. This is really cool for me because I am a big fan of Riverside. I use Riverside every day and I love the constant feature updates and enhancements. I love it. So thank you for being here and giving me your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is like one of my favorite parts of the job. So I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on your show.
Absolutely. So, guys, again, I'll throw Riverside's information in the description of the episode so you can get to it if you choose to do so. I appreciate everybody from tuning in. If we've got some new people here from the Riverside community, hello. Connect with me on Facebook as well. I'm in that group. I try to be in there as often as I can and, find me on LinkedIn as well. But you can connect with me on all the social media platforms, really. Instagram, I'm very active on as well. So you can jump over there. But of course, follow the podcast on all the platforms. Like I said at the beginning, leave a follow, leave a like, leave a comment, leave some feedback. I appreciate it very much. Thank you guys for tuning in today, and we will see you next time. Bye.